Come and dream with me.
Hello and welcome to this What Do You Want to Watch discussion about the Explosion Network's top 3 movies of 2023. I'm your host, Ashley Lovely. Join me today, Dylan Blight.
Happy to be here to talk about films.
Yes, films, motion pictures.
Yep.
Dylan, what did you think of the year in film for 2023?
People couldn't talk about it for a lot. Hey, could they? There were strikes.
Yeah.
That impacted the year, that's for sure. Yeah, I know it was a weird one. A lot of really good movies come out.
It's kind of weird how, in both video games and film, like, they've been very good year of actual films and video games, but on the actual making side, it's been difficult.
I don't know. I guess the thing with movies is they had the strike for what felt like half of the year. It probably was like half of the year, but ultimately they won, right? Or got most of what they wanted.
Kind of.
I mean, they didn't lose.
They got more than what they had.
They got more than what they had. So I feel like, yeah, it's sort of like, the video game industry, just people are losing jobs without any gain.
Yeah.
And at least for the movies, it was like, yeah, the half the year was spent on strike, but the idea was they're on strike for the better, and that's fine.
It's for the better of the future, yeah.
So it was a weird year for releases and stuff like that. But the fact is, we had so many great movies still come out. So I know, just testament to how many were backed up and stuff. A little bit, it was disappointing to not have the press tour for some of them, but it is what it is. But yeah, overall, really, really good year. For films to be watching.
Absolutely. I think, the quality of films we got this year were really good. It's been interesting, like, obviously, financially, I don't think this has been one of the strongest years. And it's probably just very telling of where the industry is kind of going. In, like, a lot of people saying they don't want to go to the cinemas anymore and they want to just wait till stuff comes at home, or they want to just pirate stuff now and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, let's get into talking about our top 3 movies. So our number 3 movie of 2023, Barbie, directed by Greta Gerwig, written by Greta Gerwig, Noah Baumbach, based on Barbie by Mattel. It's adapted, starring Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling, America Ferrera, Kate McKinnon, Issa Rae, Rhea Perlman, and Will Ferrell. Dylan, why do you love Barbie so much? And we'll say spoilers for all the movies we're about to talk about. So feel free to speak freely.
It's a film that shouldn't really work or exist. Like, how do you make a movie about Barbie, like the doll Barbie? Like, how we joked about it for so long, and they came out and they're like, well, we're just going to treat it real. Like, there's a magical world where there's a bunch of Barbies and they all live there, and the film's going to star stereotypical Barbie, and then in the real world, whatever happens there affects the production of the toys, and we were never going to explain this, and viewers are just going to have to accept that's reality. And the Barbies think that they've helped change the world for better, and that women will have more rights, and everything's great, and they're like, we're awesome. And then Barbie comes into the real world and was like, wow, this is not good at all. But Ken's like, wow, men are awesome. It is such a funny movie because it's sad yet true. There's so many aspects and things. I guess that's why it works. Like, it is a very funny movie. It's a very silly movie. Yet at the heart of it is just such a testament to, as much as I guess you look at and go, yeah, like everything's like women in general in the world, surely everything's like better now. But then there's so many countries where, women still can't get jobs, or are barely paid the same as men, and all these aspects. Like, so it is like sort of a wake up call. And I know the film is set in America, and maybe that's part of the problem. But yeah, the overall gist of the film, and the dichotomy of where women fit into the world, like the struggles and stuff that's supposed to be fought for there. Even in America and like Australia and whatever else, there's still so many problems with the way women are treated at sexual assault and whatever else. Like, there's just, so it opens up a big can of worms, but the can of worms is surrounded in pink and funny jokes. And you're like, it feels wrong to say that, but that's how it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it's weird that this Barbie movie like kind of tackles so many like issues. Like, obviously they bring up the patriarchy a lot, and there's elements of toxic masculinity that they're kind of combating through this movie. But this has so many fun jokes and gags, and just the interesting world of Barbie is like kind of set up so perfectly in that opening Lizzo song, I guess, of like, you understand, like, they don't actually drink anything in this world, and like the Barbies all wear high heels and they don't touch anything. They could all just kind of float down from the dream houses and the kind of stuff. The dynamic between Ken and Barbie is like set up so perfectly, where all these kind of Kens kind of competing for these Barbies' attentions. These Barbies don't necessarily return their attention in a way that they want. And yeah, just the way that Barbie is brought to the real world with her connection to America Ferrera is really wonderful, and like just the so many practical elements to this movie is like something that's you can really appreciate. Like, they actually like got the rotating like set, like the treadmill thing, so they could actually like drive along like that weird crazy Barbie backdrop sets as it's going between the real world and Barbie Land. They got the actual like pink convertible car. Yeah, this movie looks incredible. Like, so many, like, the actual practical sets are incredible to look at. Ryan Gosling, fantastic. He plays Ken perfectly. Yeah, just the way he like kind of full body goes straight into being on board with the patriarchy and kind of like brainwashes everybody in Barbie Land.
He doesn't like the patriarchy. He thought it was just about horses.
Once I found it wasn't a lost interest. He gave us so many beautiful moments this year with him like putting on multiple sunglasses, introducing the term Mojo Dojo Kase House, and bringing the Push by Matchbox 20 back into rotation. Perfectly used for this movie. Somebody did. And then just the wholesome story of Barbie becoming a real person, also over the course of the movie, is really well done. So yeah,
I'm a real boy.
also the soundtrack to this, fantastic. I suspect I think the rule is they can only have 2 songs nominated, but there should be at least 3, if not more. So yeah, it's very deserving of being the #1 box office hit, and like it is, the phenomenon around Barbie was incredible. There's still people going hi Barbie to people in pink and that kind of stuff. I've seen hi Barbie. It'll be a thing that goes on forever probably, and everybody's going to be bringing the energy from here on out. So Barbie, a #3 movie of 2023. All right, let's talk about our #2 movie of 2023, Past Lives. Of course, directed by Celine Song, written by Celine Song, starring Greta Lee, Teo Yu, and John Magaro. Dylan, why Past Lives?
Past Lives is a very beautiful human romance drama film. It has such well written characters between the 2 leads, and it sort of it plays just totally against how you would think any of these movies would play out, because you've probably seen movies like this before where it's like, boy loves girl, girl loves guy, they're young, oh no, something happens, they move away, but they get magically back together because true love always prevails. And it's like, well, maybe in the fairy tales, dude, but real life isn't that simple, and there's so many other layers to it and stuff. So, but I just feel like these 2 characters between Nora and Hay were probably 2 of the most real, fully fleshed out characters that I watched on a cinema screen in the past year. And there's a bunch of really great supporting cast and everything else, and the movie's just shot really, really well as well. Beautiful cinematography and everything like that as well. But yeah, it just draws you into this world, and it just hits hard. Like it hits hard because you accept it, even though you don't want to, which I guess is also, because the way the movie ends, it just makes sense. You're like, because that's how she has to, and he has to accept it. They don't want to, but phenomenal film.
Yeah, just a very beautiful movie about like kind of the lasting impacts of relationships that like immigration, I guess, has, like all these like cut off relationships and connections that in the current world with the internet and that kind of stuff can kind of be rekindled and explored. So it doesn't kind of devolve into a film about missed opportunity or he's coming back to win her back and that kind of thing. It doesn't fall into cliche very much. Just a very humble, well told story with really well acted performances, like, and just like very human performances, and like you have these really interesting discussions. Like you do have the discussion of like, oh, did you only marry me because I was American and you kind of needed a green card? Like, would you have gone back? Why didn't you go back to Korea? And like discussion of past lives and like the connection and like, what did you only? Were you only with me because we met at the same time and that kind of stuff, and like these interesting ideas kind of talked about. And then you've got this beautiful like scene in that hotel where, or like that bar where she's trying to communicate between them, and like she at some point she kind of gives up trying to talk to her husband, explain what the conversation's about to her husband.
Fully
and, like,
speaks Korean.
but then there's no animosity between the two guys. Like he's kind of understanding and like in a way that maybe is
he accepts it to a degree. I mean, he's not super. I guess the thing is, it's a thing of maturity where he's like, the film portrays him as not super happy about it, which is like, I get it, but like being mature about it.
He understands. Like, he's mature in a way that a lot of other movies,
a lot of films are.
And that last scene of them walking to the cab is beautiful. It just like a one shot down the street, tracking shot. Fantastic. The score for this movie is really beautiful as well. I've been listening to it on and off all year. Since I saw the movie. So that's really fantastic. Just a very well put together movie. Everybody comes out of it looking better than they did when they went into it. So excited to see what everybody in this kind of does going forward. All right, let's talk about a number one movie of the year. The other half of the Barbenheimer phenomenon, Oppenheimer. Obviously directed by Christopher Nolan, written by Christopher Nolan, based on American Prometheus. Based on American Prometheus by Kai Bird and Martin Sherwin, starring Cillian Murphy, Emily Blunt, Matt Damon, Robert Downey Jr., Florence Pugh, Josh Hartnett, Casey Affleck, Rami Malek, and Kenneth Branagh. Fantastic movie. Obviously, a movie that shouldn't really have worked or like been a commercial success. Like it's a movie about a bunch of scientists trying to figure out how to make a nuclear bomb, a bomb that we know destroys, kills millions and millions of people and has terrible long-term ramifications for the people of Japan. But it is a very fascinating story, told really well, really interestingly cut together, and these multiple storylines taking place at the same time, with Oppenheimer slowly becoming the head of the Manhattan Project, and then also like Robert Strauss like trying to take him down while also trying to get in a role, a government position, and kind of like tearing Robert Oppenheimer's reputation down at the same time. Really fascinating. There's a stack load of fantastic performances, obviously led by Cillian Murphy in his first like major like Hollywood role, I guess. Of course, he's like been lead on Peaky Blinders and has been a bunch of Nolan stuff over the last decade or two. But yeah, this is the first like kind of massive role he's had. And yeah, there's just so many. Everything in this movie is like kind of done really to a high standard from everybody. Dylan, What are your thoughts on Oppenheimer?
It's phenomenal. It's peak cinema. It's the hey, we are box office huge movie in the way that I think of them, not just Marvel, like comic book movies. It's massive on a scale that none of those movies can ever reach, because it's a story, it's a story true but almost larger than life. It's just such a huge part of our history that even if you don't, obviously we're not, it's part of our history, but when we neither live through it, or from like Japan, where it's such a huge part of their history, but it's just such a huge part of human history. Phenomenal performances again from everyone. It's shot fantastic. The music is insanely good. It's, I don't know, is it Christopher Nolan's best movie? Maybe, but it's hard to say. That motherfucker just makes good movies.
Yeah, I mean, like, beautifully shot, like, obviously so much on location, and like even those court scenes, like, or like fake court scenes, I guess, with in that room, like very tense and well put together. So yeah, that's why it's our number one movie of 2023. Let us know what your top 3 movies of 2023 are by going to explosion.com/Twitter, or jump to Discord at explosion.com/Discord. If you want to help us out here at What Do You Want to Watch, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Podchaser. Leave us 5 stars. Any Queen, leave 5 stars, or just tell people about the show. And if you've enjoyed this episode, thought it was worth $1, head on over to our Cove page at explosion.com/support. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.